History likes to repeat itself, and we all know that history is a broken record. Welcome back to my channel, guys. In this video I'm going to be talking about how gold, what happened to gold during the Roman Empire, how the Romans debased their currency in order to fund military campaigns. They used this as a method of taxing their citizens. They already taxed them, but they taxed them by debasing the currency, which is similar to what the government does nowadays by doing quantitative easing, which is just printing money basically. Essentially, printing money is a method of taxing us, because when they print that money, the value of the money goes down. But because they printed it, they get to spend it before it goes down in value. Essentially, they steal the purchasing power from us, which is a way of taxing us. So the Romans also did this too by debasing their coinage. Coins that were originally made of pure silver or pure gold would eventually be replaced by copper slowly, and eventually it would be nothing but just copper plated coins. And this would lead to hyperinflation in the Roman Empire. The Romans did this to fund their military campaigns and war in other regions of the map. And they also wanted to expand their empires, so they not only debased their currency by reducing the amount of copper, by increasing the amount of copper, but they also increased the face value on coins, essentially making like a $100 bill become a $1,000 bill. Of course, we know that debasing the currency, or nowadays they print money, leads to inflation, as we have seen with countries like Venezuela or Zimbabwe. They've had hyperinflation, and also the German Weimar Republic. So the Roman leader Diocletian, his policy for preventing inflation was price controls. He mandated prices and he froze wages, and he imposed death penalties on anyone selling goods above the price mandated by the government. However, this didn't stop prices in the Roman Empire rising, because the businesses still needed to make a profit with rising costs. So businesses would either go out of business, or they would have to illegally raise their prices and face a death penalty, essentially leading to the collapse of the economy, because businesses had to close up. Most people, because of this, a lot of these business owners ended up having to claim the welfare from the government. So the Romans actually invented the idea of a welfare system. Rome, the capital city, had a population of about 1 million when this happened, and the government was giving out free wheat to 200,000 of its citizens. Basically 20% of the Roman population, the population of Rome was on benefits, was on a welfare system. This shows the true scale of the economic crisis happening. Most of the money that was funding this wasn't coming from businesses, but rather it was coming from taxes of conquered regions. So they could only keep this up as long as they kept conquering more regions. The Roman Empire kept growing, but as soon as the Roman Empire stopped growing, they could no longer raise funds, so they couldn't support this system, which would eventually lead to their collapse. Because businesses weren't incentivized to create production or open up shop, the leader Diocletian had to increase the size of the government. He adopted a guns and butter policy, which essentially put people to work by hiring thousands of soldiers and using them to either expand the empire or use them to fund numerous public work projects like construction. And this effectively doubled the size of the government and the military, and it also increased the deficit spending by many times. The Roman government were overspending. They had to pay troops, they had to pay welfare to unemployed people, and they also took on new public work projects. This substantially raised the amount of government expenditure, which caused a massive budget deficit. In order to fund this, because Diocletian ran out of funds, he had to mint huge amounts of copper coins, and he began debasing the currency again by debasing more gold and silver coins. This would spark the first documented hyperinflation in history during the Roman Empire's time. According to Diocletian's Edict of Prices, which is a copy of the record of prices at the time, a pound of gold was worth 50,000 denarii in the year AD 301. But by mid-century, a pound of gold was worth 2.12 billion denarii. So that's a massive increase by many fold, because double would be 100,000. So that's like millions. So that means the price of gold rose 42,400 times in just 50 years. So that's massive inflation, that's hyperinflation. It's not as bad as the Weimar Republic inflation, but it's still really bad. So imagine having to pay 42 times the normal price of something. Eventually, all currency-based trade came to a standstill, and the economic system essentially reverted back to a barter system because people lost faith in the currency of the Roman Empire. They had to rely on trading goods or trading actual gold and silver. To put this in perspective, 50 years ago, actually 60 years ago, the price of gold was $35 per ounce in the United States. If this rose 42,000 times, the price today would be just under $1.5 million per ounce. Imagine the price of gold going from $35 to $1.5 million per ounce. In terms of purchasing power, that means if an average new car sold for $2,000 50 years ago, which they did, the average car today would sell for $85 million. This signaled as you will see, debasing the currency to pay for public works, social programs and war is a pattern that repeats. As you will see, debasing the currency to pay for public works, social programs and war is a pattern that repeats throughout history. It is a pattern that always ends badly. So the important lesson to take in here is that history repeats itself, and governments seem to think they can debase the currency, and they essentially cause hyperinflation, leading to the collapse of their civilization, which this was probably the cause of the collapse of the Roman Empire. There's a lot of politics involved. Bad economics leads to bad politics, and bad politics leads to war or collapse of an empire. So having good economics leads to good politics, which leads to a strong country. Bad economics leads to bad politics, leads to a weak country. So it all starts with economics. Having sound money, gold and silver. Not debasing it, not cheating their citizens, just sticking with real money, gold and silver. So anyway guys, I hope you learned something from this video. If you did, please hit the like button and the subscribe button. A lot of work goes into this video, so I'll be uploading more videos in the future. So stay tuned. See you later, Gold Stackers.